Hi, hello, it's me Rajna. This video is all about inductors. I have tried to cover each and every topic coming under inductor. First is all about the definition of inductors, about inductance, derivation of inductance in an inductor, serial as well as parallel combination of inductor, about the working principle of inductor, also about the properties of inductor with full explanation, the derivation of voltage, current as well as energy stored in an inductor. Last but not the least, about the types of inductors. If you have any doubts regarding this topic, please feel free to comment below. Thank you. What is an inductor? It is same as that of resistors and capacitors. That is, inductor is also a passive component which stores electrical energy in the form of magnetic energy whenever electric current flows through it. It can be represented like this, that is a wire wrapped around a tube. And the main property of inductor is to oppose any change in current. That is, whenever there is any change in current happens in the circuit, inductor jumps into action and tries to oppose that change in current. Here is an inductor, L representing the length of the inductor, A represents the area of cross section, and capital N represents the number of turns. That is, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So N is 5. V representing the voltage, I represents the current passing through the inductor. It is simply a coil wrapped onto the core or tube, and through this current is passed by. Also voltage gets generated and finally magnetic field gets stored along this coil. If more current passes through the inductor, due to the magnetic effect, more flux lines get generated around the coil, which indicates more energy gets stored in the inductor. As I said, coil is wrapped onto the core. If there is no material and just a circular winding, it is called air core inductor. If the core is a metal like iron and onto this metal coil is wrapped, it is called iron core inductor. Here, compared to this air core inductor, more flux lines are generated because here metal is used as core in the iron core inductor. So more flux lines get generated here, and more flux lines means more energy gets stored in the inductor. That is, iron core inductor stores more energy compared to that of air core inductor. And the measure of an inductor's ability to store energy for a given amount of current flow is called inductance. That measure is known as inductance. It is represented by, inductance is represented by the letter capital L and unit is Henry. Since Henry is a big unit, inductance are usually represented by millihenry, that is 10 raised to minus 3, or microhenry, 10 to the power minus 6. There are few factors which affects the inductance value. One is number of turns, which is represented by capital N. If the inductor is having less number of turns, the inductance value is less. That is, L value will be less. If number of turns is more, N is high, there will be more inductance. Second factor is coil area. If area is less, there will be less inductance. L will be less. If area of cross section of the inductor is more, we will get more inductance value. If length of the coil is more, we will get less inductance. If length small l is small, we will get more inductance. And the fourth factor is core material. If we are using air core inductor, we will get less inductance value. If we are using iron core inductor, that is core is made up of iron, that is metal, we will get more inductance value. Next we will discuss why the inductor is always considered as turns. First, consider a conductor with a current I passing through it. This single conductor creates its own magnetic field. In order to store more energy, this magnetic field is not sufficient. So, we need to create more magnetic field with the same amount of current. We just simply make some turns in the conductor in order to create more magnetic field. So, each turn will start creating its own magnetic field. The first turn will create its own magnetic field, second turn will create its own magnetic field. Like this, each turn will start creating its own magnetic field. And this magnetic field gets added up and gives more magnetic field. More magnetic field means more energy gets stored in the inductor. This is the reason why inductors are always represented in terms of coil. Our next topic is inductors in series as well as parallel combination. Consider L1, L2 as inductors connected in series, same as that of resistor. Total inductance becomes L1 plus L2. If they are connected in parallel, that is L1, L2 are connected in parallel, L total becomes 1 divided by 1 by L1 plus 1 by L2. Next topic is working principle of inductor. Consider an inductor connected to a voltage source with positive as well as negative terminal. As I said, inductor is made of a coil of conducting wire wound around a tube or core. Since it is made from conducting wire, inside this conducting wire there will be abundant number of free electrons. Since the electrons are negatively charged, they get repelled from this negative terminal and gets attracted towards the positive terminal. And thus, the current flows exactly opposite to the electron flow direction, that is from positive terminal towards the negative terminal. Electrons moves or gets attracted towards this positive terminal. So, current flows from this positive terminal towards the negative terminal. So, if there is supply of current in the inductor, we will get the magnetic energy stored in the inductor. Electrical energy is stored in the form of magnetic energy. So, same as that of a bar magnet, here I considered a bar magnet with two poles, north pole as well as south pole. Here the north pole continuously distributes fluxes towards the direction of south pole. Same as that of a bar magnet, if there is magnetic energy stored in an inductor, there will be two poles in the inductor, south as well as north pole. The direction from which current entering to the inductor is considered as north pole and current leaving out from the inductor is considered as south pole. As I said, inductor is connected to a voltage source. If we increase the amount of voltage slightly, electrons will be flowing faster from negative terminal towards the positive terminal. And accordingly, current flows in the opposite direction, that is from positive terminal towards the negative terminal. So the basic principle of inductor is, according to the magnetic effect of an electric current, whenever current passes through a coil or conductor, it produces magnetic field around that conductor. And this magnetic field generates flux around the conductor. And this flux which is produced around the conductor changes according to the current flowing through the inductor changes. According to the current flow change in the current flow, the flux produced also gets changed. So according to Faraday's law, due to this flux change, EMF or voltage get induced in a conductor. This induced EMF are of two types. One is self-induced EMF and second one is mutually induced EMF. What is a self-induced EMF? Here is the definition for self-induced EMF. The EMF induced in a coil due to the change of its own flux linked with. It is called self-induced EMF. There will be a single coil and due to the its own flux change, EMF gets induced in the coil. It is called self-induced EMF. Let us consider a coil having N turns. Capital N is the number of turns carrying current I with a switch S. As this switch is closed, current flows through the coil and produces flux in the coil. And this flux links with the coil itself, and as the magnitude of current changes, using a variable resistor, the flux produced also gets changed. According to Faraday's law, due to the rate of change of flux linked with the coil, an EMF gets induced in the coil. As the EMF induced is without any physical motion of the coil or flux, the induced EMF is called as self-induced EMF. And the self-inductance is nothing but property of a coil which opposes any change in the current passing through it is called self-inductance. Coefficient of self-inductance can be represented by capital L equal to N phi by I. N is the number of turns, phi is the flux and I is the current passing through the inductor. Second type of induced EMF is mutually induced EMF. Here is a definition for mutually induced EMF. There will be two coils. If the flux produced by first coil is linked with the second coil, and if the change in flux produced by the first coil induces an EMF in the second coil, then such an EMF is called as mutually induced EMF. Here consider two coils, that is coil A and coil B. N1 as number of turns in coil A and N2 as number of turns in coil B. I1 is the current flowing through coil A which produces flux phi 1 in the first coil, and some part of phi 1 gets linked with the coil B which is called as mutual flux phi 2. That is, phi 1 gets linked with coil B which creates phi 2 linked flux. If we change the magnitude of current I1 flowing through coil A by a variable resistor, the linked flux phi 2 gets changed. So, according to Faraday's law, this change in flux induces an EMF in the coil. Thus, any change in current I1 induces an EMF in the second coil, that is coil B. This phenomenon is known as mutually induced EMF. Here is the circuit symbol of an inductor. The internal diagram of inductor is actually like this, with a little bit of resistance, internal resistance RL, where RL can be represented as rho capital L by A, where rho is the resistivity of wire, typically which is made up of copper, L is the inductance and A is the area of cross section. Our next topic is voltage current relation, the equation which connects both current as well as voltage. Let us consider an inductor having cross-sectional area A, length of the inductor L and number of turns capital N. Number of turns per unit length can be written as small n, and permeability is represented by the letter mu, which is the ability of magnetic field to exist inside the tube. If it is an air core inductor, permeability can be written as mu 0 equal to 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7 Weber per amps meter or Tesla meter per amps. If it is an iron core inductor, that is core made up of metal or iron, mu becomes larger because metal allows more magnetic field inside the tube compared to that of air core inductor. Let us consider 3 cases in order to understand the relation between current as well as voltage. In case 1, current is constant, that is I is constant, V is 0. In case 2, if current is increasing, voltage will be negative on one side and positive on another side, like this. If current is increasing towards the positive side, voltage tries to oppose or drive the current in the opposite direction. That is given as negative on one side and positive on another side. In case 3, if current is decreasing towards the negative side, voltage will be positive on one side and negative on another side. That is, voltage tries to oppose or drive the current in the opposite direction. There will be potential difference across the inductor only when the current is changing. So, the voltage induced in an inductor can be written as V equal to L di by dt, where L is the inductance, which is the ability to oppose the change in current. Di by dt is the change in current. And this inductance L can be written as N into N by L mu A, where N is the number of turns, L is the length of the inductor, and mu is the permeability and A is the cross-sectional area. That is N square mu A by L. This is the commonly used expression in order to find out the inductance value. This can also be written as N by L is nothing but small n. So, N small n mu A. We discussed about the voltage induced in terms of inductance as well as rate of change of current. Now, we are going to discuss about the voltage induced equation in terms of magnetic flux. Consider an inductor with n number of turns and also magnetic flux phi. So, the flux linkage can be written as number of turns into magnetic flux. That is flux linkage equal to capital N into phi. If the current flowing through the inductor changes, the magnetic flux also gets changed. So according to Faraday's law, any change in the magnetic flux linkage produces a self-induced voltage in the single coil. This induced voltage can be written as VL equal to capital N d phi by dt, that is rate of change of magnetic flux into n number of turns, which can also be written as mu n square A by L di by dt. That is, already we discussed about the voltage equation, induced voltage equation in terms of inductance and rate of change of current, that is V equal to L di by dt, which is nothing but L is n square mu A by L. So substituting here the value for L, n square mu A by L di by dt. So voltage induced in terms of number of turns as well as rate of change of flux is VL equal to N d phi by dt, and in terms of rate of change of current is mu n square A by L di by dt. Next, we'll find out the equation for current through the inductor. We know that the voltage across the inductor in terms of rate of change of current is V equal to L di by dt, where di can be written as 1 by L V dt, and I is equal to integral of di equal to, taking 1 by L is constant, so 1 by L integral 0 is the initial time and t is the final time, integral 0 to t V dt. Since the current changes with time, here we are expressing it as a function of time. If the initial time is taken as t0, it can be written as I of t equal to 1 by L integral. Initial time is taken as t0. t0 to t V of t dt plus a constant, that is I of t naught. Let us calculate the energy stored in an inductor. Let's consider three cases. In case 1, I is 0. Here there is no current flowing through the inductor, so there will be no establishment of magnetic field in this case. In case 2, if we are increasing the current, there will be EMF induced, which opposes the current. Thus, there will be establishment of magnetic field in the inductor and stores certain amount of energy. In third case, as we keep on increasing, here I becomes 2 amps. Keep on increasing the current, magnetic field becomes more and more stronger. And this magnetic field stores certain amount of energy. Now let's calculate this certain amount of energy which is stored in an inductor. Let us consider the power equation. As we know, power can be written as voltage into current, that is P equal to VI. Voltage is nothing but, in terms of rate of change of current, L di by dt into I. Power is nothing but, it is the work done. Work done equal to P dt. Work done can be written as P dt. That is, power is nothing but work done per unit time. P equal to W by T, or it can also be written as work done is nothing but energy. Energy per unit time. So, power is the work done per unit time or energy per unit time. So, work done can be written as W is equal to dw equal to p dt. In order to find out w, let's find out the integral. Integral dw equal to integral p dt, which can be written as p as vi, integral vi dt. So w equal to v as L di by dt into I dt. W equal to taking L outside, since it is a constant, w equal to L integral. Initial current is 0, final current is I. 0 to I, dt got cancelled, so I di, which can be written as integral of I is I square by 2. So L I square by 2, 0 to I. W equal to half L I square. That is substituting the upper limit and lower limit, which becomes W equal to half L I square. W is nothing but energy stored, which is equal to half L I square. This is the energy stored in an inductor. We already discussed about the inductance equation. L equal to N square mu A by L, where N is the number of turns in an inductor in the coil, mu is the permeability, A is the cross-sectional area, and L is the length of the coil. Now we are going to derive the same equation, that is equation for inductance. As we know that the voltage across the inductor in terms of inductance and rate of change of current is V equal to L di by dt. Let us consider this equation as equation 1. According to Faraday's law, self-induced voltage, that is voltage in terms of rate of change of flux, is given by V equal to N d phi by dt. Let us consider this equation as equation number 2, where phi is the amount of flux. This amount of flux can be written as strength of the field into cross-sectional area. That is, strength of the field is nothing but capital B, cross-sectional area is A. So, amount of flux phi can be written as B into A, where strength of the field B can be written as mu N by L into I. Comparing equation 1 and 2, that is the left hand side is same V. So we can compare 1 and 2 equations. N d phi by dt equal to L di by dt. Substitute the equation for phi. N d by dt phi is nothing but B into A. B A equal to L di by dt. A is a constant, so it can be taken out. Since we are considering the same loop, area of cross section, that is cross-sectional area, is not changing. So it is a constant. Only the magnetic flux is changing. So A can be taken out. Na dB by dt equal to L di by dt. That is Na d by dt, substituting the equation for B, mu N by L into I. Mu N by L into I equal to L di by dt. Taking constants outside. So N square mu A by L. Current is changing, so it is not a constant. Di by dt equal to L di by dt. We can cancel both di by dt's. So L becomes N square mu A by L. Thus inductance depends on all its physical size. That is N number of turns, mu is the permeability, A is the cross-sectional area, and L is the length. Our next topic is property of inductors. One of the important property of an inductor is it opposes the change in current flowing through it. The next property is inductor allows DC signal and blocks AC signal. The reason why it allows a DC signal and blocks AC signal is every component possesses some resistance. Resistance is nothing but opposition. So the resistance offered by an inductor is known as inductive resistance, which is denoted as XL, which can be written as XL equal to 2 pi FL, where F is the frequency. And for a DC signal, frequency is 0. We know that frequency is 0 for a DC signal. So, XL, when frequency is 0, XL becomes 0. Thus, inductor offers very low resistance. Since XL is 0, inductor offers very low resistance towards DC signal. But the frequency of AC signal is not equal to 0. Frequency not equal to 0 means XL is not equal to 0. XL not equal to 0 means inductor opposes AC signal but always passes DC signal. And the third property of inductor is current always lags voltage in an inductor. We'll discuss the reason why current lags voltage in an inductor. The inductor's ability to store energy as a function of current result in a tendency to try to maintain current at a constant value. The parameter which helps the current to maintain at a constant level is called voltage. Depending upon the change in current, inductor will vary the voltage across it and tries to maintain the current constant. We will discuss it through two cases. In case 1, whenever current through the inductor increases, the inductor will try to bring the current to a normal value or constant value by decreasing the voltage. That is, according to Ohm's law, V equal to IR, whenever voltage is decreased, the current will also decrease. Thus, the inductor takes energy from the system and acts as a load here. That is, in case 1, inductor is acting as a load. Next, in case 2, when current through the inductor decreases, it tries to keep the current at a constant or normal value by increasing the voltage across it. In this case, the inductor is said to be discharging. In the first case, the inductor takes energy from the system and acting as a load. In this case too, the inductor is said to be discharging because whatever be the energy stored in the inductor is now got released or discharged. And in this case, inductor is acting as a source. This is the reason why we get lagging current in the inductor. I will explain it through a waveform. The dotted waveform is showing the waveform of current and the blue line is showing the waveform of voltage. Whenever current through the inductor is minimum, inductor tries to bring the current to a constant or normal value by increasing the voltage. That is, when current is minimum, at this point voltage will be maximum. When current goes on increasing and when it reaches the peak value, voltage at this point is minimum. When current becomes maximum, voltage at this point is minimum in order to bring the current to a normal or stable value. So, if we draw the waveform for current separately at last, we can find that we'll get a current as a constant or stable value. This is the reason why the voltage is leading the current, or else we can say that current is lagging the voltage. Next is the definition for back EMF. We know that an inductor always opposes the change in current flowing through it. Hence, whenever the current flowing through inductor changes, an inductor develops an EMF which opposes this current. Amplitude of this EMF, which is induced, is equal and opposite to the voltage. We know that the voltage equation in terms of di by dt is V equal to L di by dt. So amplitude of this EMF is equal and opposite to this voltage means minus VL, which is equal to minus L into di by dt, which is known as back EMF. Next we'll discuss about coefficient of coupling. We already discussed about mutually induced EMF. There we consider two coils, coil A and coil B. So that two coils are said to be magnetically coupled if full or part of the flux produced by one coil links with the other. If no flux from one coil links with the other, then coupling between the two coils, coil A and coil B, is zero. This coupling effect is measured in terms of coefficient of coupling, which is given by K equal to M by root of L1 into L2, where L1 is the inductance of first coil, L2 is the inductance of second coil, and M is the mutual inductance between two coils. When magnetic flux produced by one coil does not link with the other coil, then K becomes 0. If the flux produced by one coil links with the other, then K becomes 1. Our next topic is types of inductors. Inductors are classified into 8 types. The first one is air core inductor. Second one is laminated core inductor. Third one is iron core inductor. Fourth one is ferrite core inductors. Fifth one is toroidal inductors. Sixth one is multi-layer ceramic inductors. Seventh one is coupled inductors. And eighth one is variable inductors. First we will discuss about air core inductors. This is the symbol for air core inductor. That is just a circular winding. There will be nothing inside, just a circular winding. That is coil of wire wound on a hollow former made of ordinary cardboard. Since there is nothing inside but just a circular winding, there will be air inside of the coil. It is known as air core inductor. They will have least inductance for a given number of turns capital N and core length small l, and they are used in high frequency applications including TV and radio receivers, and their main advantages are low core losses and high quality factor. And the second type of inductor is iron core inductor. This is a symbol for iron core inductor. Iron core inductor is that the coil of wire is wound over a iron core. That is, here core is used as a core is nothing but a metal, that is iron, and onto that metal coil is wound. Putting iron as a core inside an inductor increases its inductance value. They will have high power as well as high inductance value. And their construction will be like the iron core is laminated in order to avoid hysteresis as well as eddy current losses. Laminated means it is made up of thin iron laminations pressed together but insulated from each other. Used in low frequency applications such as filter circuits, power supplies, etc. Here I used the term hysteresis as well as eddy current loss. What is hysteresis and eddy current loss? I will give you a brief idea about both losses here. My next video is all about transformer, so there I will explain you in detail about both losses. The transformer losses are commonly subdivided into two losses, major loss as well as minor loss. And this major loss is because of two losses, core loss or iron loss or magnetic loss, all are one. And the second loss is copper loss. We can call the core loss as iron loss as well as magnetic loss. And this core loss is again classified into two losses. One is hysteresis loss and second one is eddy current loss. So what is hysteresis loss? As I said, in an iron core inductor, the core is made up of magnetic material. So consider a magnet which will have few dipoles inside. Dipole is nothing but charge carriers. They will be randomly arranged. As soon as a flux is set up, this flux tries to align dipole towards one direction. As soon as the polarity of flux is changed, the dipole direction will be in the opposite direction. So this alignment of dipole from one direction to the another direction during the positive as well as negative cycle is known as magnetization and demagnetization. For this alignment, some amount of energy is wasted. That energy wasted in magnetizing in one direction and demagnetizing in another direction is called hysteresis loss. Next is all about eddy current loss. As we discussed, any change in the environment of a coil of wire will cause a voltage or EMF to be induced in the coil according to Faraday's law. That is, change in current passing through the inductor causes change in magnetic flux, and this change in magnetic flux induces a voltage or EMF in the coil. And this induced EMF causes circulating current to flow, referred to as eddy current. That is, each magnetic flux lines will produce a circulating current. Each magnetic flux lines will produce a circulating current, and power loss caused by these circulating current is known as eddy current loss. As these currents are not responsible for doing any useful work, it produces a loss which is known as eddy current loss or I square R loss in the magnetic material. That is, the flux lines, each flux lines will produce a circulating current that multiplied with the resistance gives the eddy current loss. That is why it is also known as I square R. Circulating current multiplied by the resistance gives eddy current loss. The third type of inductor is ferrite core inductors. This is a symbol of ferrite core inductor. In this inductor, coil of wire is wound on a solid core or ferrite core. That is, core used is a highly ferromagnetic substance called ferrite, which is a solid material. Ferrite is a solid material consisting of fine particles of iron powder. Ferrite core has minimum eddy current loss. The iron core inductors are not suitable for high frequency application, and this disadvantage or this difficulty of iron core inductor is overcome by the use of ferrite core inductors. That is, it is used in high frequency applications. Value of such inductor is in the range of few microhertz to few microhenry to few millihenry. They are used in switching circuits as well as for transformers. Next type of inductor is laminated core inductors. These low frequency inductors are often made using laminated cores which prevent eddy current loss. Their construction is very similar to that of transformers, and their construction is done by layering thin steel sheets one above the other, and each of them will will be insulated from one another by an insulating coating. And this insulation prevents eddy current loss. That is, each steel sheets will be insulated from each other by an insulating coating. For example, a layer of varnish or something like that. And this insulating coating prevents eddy current loss. They have high power levels, so they are mostly used at power filtering devices. Our next type of inductor is toroidal inductor. They consist of a circular ring or donut shaped magnetic core of ferromagnetic material such as laminated iron, iron powder or ferrite around which the wire is wound. They usually have high inductance value at low frequency application, also high energy transferring efficiency. They are mainly used in medical devices, refrigerators, telecommunication, musical instruments, air conditioners, etc. And the sixth type of inductor is multi-layer ceramic inductor. The name itself indicates that it consists of multiple layers. That is, the coiled wire will be wound multiple times around the core. Simply by adding additional layers of coiled wire as well as insulation between them, these inductors will have high inductance value. These multi-layer ceramic inductors are having applications at high frequencies to suppress noise. Also, they are used in signal processing modules like wireless LAN, Bluetooth, also at mobile communication systems. The seventh type of inductor is coupled inductor. The AC current which is flowing in one inductor produces voltage in the second inductor. When mutual inductance is needed, this type of inductors are used, that is coupled inductor. Transformer is a kind of coupled inductor. The eighth type of inductor is variable inductor. This is a symbol for variable inductor. The coil is wound to a hollow former. That is, hollow former acts as a core here and coil is wound onto that. And this hollow former or core will have screw threads. And these screw threads are provided which can be screwed in or out of the hollow former. And using these screw threads, this hollow former position can be changed. And because of the change of position of core or hollow former, value of inductance can be changed. Inductors are used in this type of inductors are used in radio and high frequency application where tuning is required to vary the inductance from minimum value to a maximum value.